that would be
Chris.
Oh, newsworthy.
Yes,
That's what
it
my
is.
thought
It
is,
has
and
changed. Here is a solution.
I've never seen those shirts.
Another sign way out.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
know.
We don't have that.
But still raising money,
I
right?
had one. It's good. I gave it
You gave it back.
Quit whining, for God's sake, take $20 out of your wallet and pay for it.
Show up in their age.
Same date.
There was. Oh, yeah, I like the machine on your shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's call this, we on.
Yep.
Meeting to order. Please join me.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please join Commissioner Kirchner for a prayer.
Heavenly Father, please watch over us, help us make the decisions that are in the best interest of those we serve. In a special way today, we ask your blessings on Chris English and his family. Chris passed this past week. His funeral will be tomorrow. We ask you to console the family. We ask you, as always, to protect those and to comfort those who are protecting our freedoms and their families. We ask all this through your Son. Amen.
Roll call.
Commissioner Thomas?
Here.
Commissioner Kirchner?
Here.
Commissioner Ferguson?
Here. I accept the motion to approve the digital audio video recording of the previous board session from Thursday, September 26th.
Second.
Roll call.
Commissioner Ferguson?
Yes.
Commissioner Kirchner?
Yes.
Commissioner Thomas?
Yes. Any adjustments today? All right, we have a bid opening at 10:15, is that right?
Yes.
Okay. All right, administrator report.
Just a couple things. Looking at the calendar ahead, working on scheduling an off-site evening meeting. We're looking at October 29th at 7 o'clock in Bloom Township, which would be in Bloomville. So hopefully, if that works with your schedule, I think Nikki's already verified with them that the room would be available. And then if you could also kind of look at your calendars over the next couple of months. Obviously, we want to get some budget meetings scheduled. I'm thinking maybe on Tuesdays.
We're working on a 22nd date. I think it's 22nd, Tift University.
Okay.
We could do it here,
We do a meeting.
a meeting,
That's
off-site
good.
meeting.
Okay.
That'd be okay.
Tuesday the
If
22nd.
that could be arranged.
I won't be here, but that doesn't mean that we can't do it.
When do you get back, 22nd?
I get back the 23rd. But you can still do that meeting, that's fine, that's not gonna hurt.
We do have to make up,
Yeah, we got a couple.
for you to make up.
Well, I figure with budgets we'll be
the-
able to do
Well,
that.
we'll wait for Tift University to respond, and if they can do it, we'll have it. If that's
And
okay.
the folks at Calvert have contacted me about doing their civics class meeting. We did it a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they wanted, Calvert wants to do a civics class meeting. I don't know if we're gonna contact any other high schools about that or not, but I think it'd probably be a good idea. They're talking maybe the first week in November sometime.
I like it.
We normally have those on Tuesdays then?
Not necessarily.
It could
Give
be
you an
whenever
idea.
we agree
Yeah,
to it.
yeah.
Yeah, whenever they're available, we usually work around our schedule around theirs,
Yeah.
so.
It's just a 24-hour advance notice, and we try to
Yeah.
let people know
Good.
previous week.
Yeah, sometimes we bring other elected officials along with us to kind of give at least the younger kids, an idea of what other departments do as well.
Tailor the
Well,
agenda.
To Tony's point, could we block out the week of November 4th? How does that work for everybody for budget meetings?
Yep.
Yeah,
Works for me.
I think I have that in here.
So we can notify the press, et cetera, that we will be in session 3 or 4 days that week. And we can schedule folks in.
Yeah, we can do that, yeah. That week looks okay on our schedule.
I'll be out Monday, the 4th.
Okay,
So
so
yeah, but so the 5th, 6th,
Yeah.
all that's good. So,
5th,
okay.
6th, and 7th. an 8th if we need it.
Yep.
I like it.
Good.
But you guys are okay with October 29th at 7 PM?
Yep.
Okay. Had a request, the fitness barn that we use for our wellness program, Job and Family Services. There have been a couple questions, and this was brought to the Health Insurance Advisory Committee, which has an offset of a wellness committee. They reviewed the rules for the fitness barn, and they were asking, obviously, our approval. They want to do the 24/7. All the fobs are to employees only, obviously, but currently we have it from like 4 a.m. to 9 p.m. We've had some people ask if we could do that 24/7.
I don't see why not. I've been out there most of the time that I've been out there, though there's never been anybody else in there.
Yeah, and they want to see, initially, the initial rule was that spouses and children could go, but they needed to be with the county employee. The request is to allow spouses and children over the age of 16 to be able to go without the employees. You know, some spouses don't want to exercise with theirs. Or in my case, my son doesn't want me hanging around when he goes out and, you know, walks on
I
the
think that's an
treadmill.
extension of our wellness. I mean, we have exposure to them on health insurance,
Sure.
so we want them to be as healthy
I mean,
as
if there were,
possible.
yeah, I mean, there's never been a problem where somebody couldn't get to a machine or anything.
No,
right? I mean,
nope,
so,
nope.
yeah.
And they
So
do
what
have,
they borrow the fob from the employee?
Yep.
Is that how we do it?
yeah,
Okay.
and then they have a camera out there on the parking lot, so.
Yeah, I mean, the only exception I would see to that is if it got to the point where an employee wanted to go out and couldn't get in on any of the treadmills or anything. then-
Sure.
Then I think we might have a situation, but as long as that doesn't occur, I'm okay.
Yeah, I think they do have calendars, but they've not needed them because the
Yeah, no,
machines have
I've never
usually
seen anybody
been.
signing a
That would
calendar.
be a good,
no.
yeah,
So.
be a good problem to have.
Yeah, you're right.
You're right. Okay, I think that was all the
Nobody
changes.
argues about what TV station they have on.
Right.
You by yourself.
Right, okay. And that's all I had today.
All right. Commissioner Paradiso, anything?
Just a couple comments. See Lou's here, he'll be coming up. I just left Seneca County and Family Children First Council meeting. It was my first meeting there. You know, I was impressed with all the representation that was at that meeting. And if I may, I'm just going to name a few. These are representatives from all these agencies around a table trying to work together on behalf of families and children in our county. And I thought it was a pretty interesting meeting. The court-appointed special advocates, City of Fostoria, Tiffin, Department of Youth Services, Firelands Counseling and Recovery, Fostoria United Way, LESAP, the old WSOS, Help Me Grow, Mental Health Recovery Services, SCAT. I was there representing the commissioners, Seneca County Development of Disabilities, Seneca County Job and Family Services, Health Department, Juvenile Court, Tiffin City Schools, United Way, YMCA, all were there collaborating, and it was a very interesting meeting. It was my first one, so that's one of the, for the public's benefit, that's one of the committees that I'm on. We also had a meeting out at the engineer's office this week to talk about the Ohio Public Works Commission and the Issue 1 money. There are applications being submitted for the townships through regional planning, one for the city of Tiffin, one for the city of Fostoria, Jackson Township, and then our county engineer. We are applying for over $1 million in highway money. The meeting is November 22nd. We scored these projects, and there's a meeting in Mansfield on November 22nd to announce if we're successful in that project. So that was a good one. I think IT, cybersecurity, Mike might want to, the other commissioners may want to comment on this. We have an IT committee. We've been working on countywide issues, primarily scanning services and record storage. That's kind of at the top of the list right now. We added social media last week to the list. But I think one of the concerns, and I'm not sure we have a problem, but we are going to research and do a study on our security, our backup cybersecurity. Sandusky County was hacked. It was very, very serious. They had to shut their system down. They have the FBI in. It's a big deal. I don't know if any of you want to comment on that one on this topic.
Well, I mean, I came back, first thing I
Yeah.
said was, call Jake and make sure that we're all set.
Yeah.
But that it is scary, yeah.
It's
It wasn't just
scary.
Sandusky County, I think they discovered it in
Yeah, others.
4 or
Yeah.
5 other counties.
Yeah, so I just want to, kind of go on the record with that we're aware of that, and we'll be taking measures from the county level to look into that, make sure we're doing everything we
I
can.
wish you would change the name of the storage committee to the digitizing committee.
Yeah.
Words matter, right,
Yes.
Jimmy?
I'm over 60 years old, so it's storage committee. But, that's all I have. Thank you.
Mike?
Well, I guess we were all three at the Ohio Solid Waste meeting yesterday,
Yeah.
And met with and were pleasantly surprised. Kathleen Rocco is the new executive director. She's from Cleveland. She's got a breadth and depth of experience that's going to be very valuable to us. We had a good meeting as opposed to previous meetings. It was all good news. We had settlement checks in. The cash flow for OSS looks real good. We're talking about bringing old programs back, which is a good thing. Balance sheet looks good, and we are moving forward with that. So we also had a presentation from Ben Nutter about the progress that they've made regarding the odors and the problems that were out there. And they're actually moving to the next levels and hoping to get back involved with the water treatment plant in Fostoria soon. They're working with people that are smarter than everybody else in Fostoria and with the solid waste to try to start using that system. And hopefully that'll get done. And I think it's probably worth noting, because he's not here, that there is an open house out there on October 12th from noon. There'll be cake and ice cream and goodies and that kind of thing.
Bounce house.
Yeah. Bounce house, yeah. But it's out of recycled materials in the middle of it. Yeah, all kinds of stuff for kids, and so if anybody has any concerns or wants to get themselves up to date on that facility, they ought to run out there on the 12th. I think it's noon to 5 or something like that. That's it.
Okay, I just had a couple things. One, we had talked about sending a letter to support Reineke's efforts in the House on local control and wind.
Yes.
So, I just wanted to put this in front of you guys again. So maybe we
gave
can.
us a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
That I haven't looked at yet.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I have.
It's on my desk.
So if we could do that, they're back in session, so I would like to get our position straightened out here so that we're good to go.
We'll do this next week.
Yeah, no problem. I just keeping it in front of us.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'd like this to be an agenda item next week so that we can act on it.
Okay,
That's good.
all right. And in that same vein, Tony, you weren't here, but Mike and I passed a resolution at one point sunsetting the AEZ. And, to the extent that other projects are going to file or refile, we had some pretty explicit language there as it relates to whether or not they're in or out of the AEZ. And I guess what I would like to do, I think Mike and I are fairly certain that our intent was if you withdrew your application and you had to refile, that you were no longer under the AAZ. Is that,
Right.
am I characterizing
Yeah,
that?
absolutely, yes.
Okay. So I would like to ask the prosecutor to look at the documentation that we have in place and be prepared for anybody who would file or refile to respond accordingly.
Yeah, I agree, because I think there's some confusion on the part of the one applicant who did withdraw.
Yeah.
That they feel they're still in the AZ, and my sense is they are not, but you're right. Prosecutor opinion would be great.
Yeah. and
Yeah, it's good.
Be prepared to make that statement. I just wanted to make sure that we talked about that and we were on the same page, so. Yeah, and then I guess the only other thing on that is on the RUMA, I was rereading the staff report.
Something.
Yeah, and in there, it says that they have to come to an agreement with the engineer. We're not mentioned in there, so we may want to know what our legal standing is on that before we take a stand. I mean, from
I think it's a semantics thing, but I agree with you, that you have to come into an agreement, they have to make an agreement with the engineer. However, the engineer, we have to approve the RUMA. So, the engineer can write it and make a suggestion as to what it ought to be, but the commissioners have the right to accept or reject that RUMA and ask him to make changes to it. They then have to go back to the engineer and accept whatever the RUMA is that we've
Yeah.
approved, so.
Administratively, I think that's the way we've worked in the past, but I didn't find that in the language
Okay.
of the staff report, so I just want to get some clarity on that.
Was that a Derek question?
I think it is.
Good.
I want to make certain, I mean, this isn't a policy thing, but I want to make certain that the commissioners have final authority in approving any RUMA.
Okay.
That
That's
the
a Derek
engineer,
question.
that the engineer
So
suggests,
we know that.
and that we finally approve, because that's how I understood it.
Yeah. My sense is the state has taken that role from us, but I would like to, I'd like to have some clarification, I just want to make sure that we're on the same page there. So. Other than,
Does Derek have what you sent me? Should we?
yeah, he knows, it's all
Okay.
public document.
Right, okay. We're good.
So, and I do want to echo Mike's sentiment about OSS, because we've raised concerns in here over the past year. And, a lot of cooperation with our other county commissioners in Sandusky and Ottawa County. That ship is righted. There's still storm clouds on the horizon, but we're in a much better position to navigate those choppy waters now. But it's taken some attention.
And I guess really, one of the only ways that we can gauge compliance as far as Sunny Hill is concerned is any objections from the community. And as far, I have not received any phone calls, nor have I had seen anybody in here in 3 months.
Oh, wow.
I don't think that that's exaggeration.
I received an email yesterday or day before from a concerned citizen in the Fostoria area.
Okay.
Did you get the same one I got?
I don't think so, I don't think I
And I
did.
forget their name, but,
Did it come to your county email address?
yes.
Okay.
And, I'm gonna reply to them, I just haven't. And I saw Beth at the health board this morning, but we were in a different setting, but.
Well, just to give you some sense.
But they were asking they were concerned that since the settlement happened, that no one has brought anything up. No one has said anything, negatively against the landfill, when, in their view, there's still some things that aren't quite up to snuff. So I thought I would turn that over to the health department.
Well, just to give you a sense, there was a time when we were getting 2 or 3 emails a day.
Yeah, oh yeah,
and/or
yeah.
phone calls.
It's the only one I received, but
Every day.
I do want to
for,
reply to it.
3 or 4 weeks, or 5 or 6 weeks, and they always had somebody, most always had somebody here
Yeah.
for, a number of weeks.
I came in at a good time, see.
Yeah, we resolved the problem, you just sit there.
No, yeah.
Take
All the
the
meetings are
credit.
great. But that's how we should handle that, right? Is that a health
Absolutely.
department
Yeah.
issue
Yeah.
at this
Yep.
point? And I'll just direct them to the health department. Okay.
That's good.
Yeah. One other thing is that there are some requests for school resource officers out there.
Yeah.
We need to,
Yeah.
we need to either put that on as a special budget discussion, have the sheriff in, figure out what, you know, if we're in a position to respond to that.
Yeah, I think that's great,
I
one of
dig
those
it.
days that we're talking about, to have the sheriff in and have that as a specific topic. You know, can we afford it, on the first of all, or is there some funding out there for it that we're not aware of?
When you start with each school district would fund their own resource officer, right? To start
I don't
with.
know what the business model is. I think in the city of Tiffin they shared, right?
Yeah.
Shared
They do a
costs.
share, and so
I think that's true.
we have been approached by a school. I think it's great. Just talk about it.
Yeah, we definitely need to talk about it. How do we get
Okay, your bid opening.
there? Okay. Anything else?
Oh,
All right.
Thank you.
Nikki, would you like to add anything today? Okay, we'll go ahead with the bid opening. Sign-in sheet.
She thought you probably had things we were not saying.
I know. She editorializes up and down the hall.
Somebody's gotta keep you straight.
Right.
So, we are talking about the property in Fostoria
Yep.
that is owned by the School of Opportunity and
Owned by the county.
owned by the county. And it looks like we have a bid.
Yes, we have one bid, and this is for the 801 Kirk Street, Astoria property. The bid is from Great Lakes Community Action Partnership, formerly WSOF. Looks like their net bid amount is $77,790.31.
And to make it clear with this bid, we advertised like we do with any other piece of real estate, and it was out there for how long?
4 weeks. 4 consecutive weeks.
And we've talked about it in here a number of
Yes,
times.
yeah, we sure have.
That's the only bid we have, and so we'll sit down with School of Op and
Okay.
figure out how.
Congratulations to the bidders, thank you.
Yes.
We'll make sure they're certified funds. We look forward to good things happening at that property.
Just what GLCAT needs is another building to have to maintain after they just got done with the last one, right?
Gluttons for punishment, right?
Yeah. Well, you got one in Fostoria, one in Fremont, how about getting something over here?
Well, we do have a center here now, which we didn't for a number of years,
Okay.
so, yes. And we have expanded it this fall, so.
All right, old business, new business.
New business, JFS vehicle, we talked about this a few months ago. Job and Family Services has asked us if we would purchase them a vehicle and then they would repay us back. They finally got all their bids in, or at least all the quotes in. The best price came back for $22,022.70. They put together a payment plan to pay us back from starting November if we move forward until of 19 till 24. We have some funds set aside for this. If you're okay with this, I think you guys were okay with it a few
Yeah,
months
we
ago,
talked about
but
this, yeah.
I just wanted to bring it up. It's under my threshold, so I was gonna sign it, but I wanna make sure you guys remembered and were okay with this.
They gonna pay us a monthly payment, or?
They are $367.05
Wow,
a month. Yep.
okay. What's the interest rate?
The friends and family discount.
I bet.
The, while we're talking about vehicles, just jumping out of order here a little bit, but did we get the van straightened around or truck for the auditor's office?
No, we did get bids. we had some concerns with our revenue, since we didn't put money in place for that during our budget times. We talked about it, but we didn't put any money in place. We haven't moved forward with that yet, but John just got bids for it, so.
Is that the weights and measures van?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Truck.
I think we had approved it, right, at a certain dollar amount?
Yeah, you said under 30,
Okay.
25, 30? I'd have to pull my notes on that, but, yeah, John was still getting bids, but I think he's got them all now.
Okay, so will we see something on that maybe next week?
I can do it for next week, yeah.
Yeah, it was just something that reminded me when we were talking about vehicles.
Okay.
Loose end.
All right, go ahead, I'm sorry. Do you want a motion on that separately?
Nope.
Okay.
So I have some budget adjustments. I have the supplemental appropriations for EMA into their contract services line for $22,000. For that mitigation plan services, we will get reimbursed for that, but obviously it's a reimbursement, so we have to put some funds in place. So again, that's $22,000. My next request is for microfilm contract service for $10,720. This is out of the juvenile probate courts special projects fund.
Can I ask one question about that?
Mm-hmm.
Are we a generation behind with this stuff? If we're gonna do microfilm, why wouldn't we just digitize?
Their description says microfilming, digitizing images, and electronic storage. So,
Okay, because the microfilm we have has to be somewhere along the way put on disk, right?
I think they are digitizing it.
Yeah.
yeah, well, that's just the
So are we
description
gonna
they have.
microfilm it and then put it on something else?
Job security.
It's $10,000, I'm not gonna get excited, but
Yeah.
it just seems to me
I
that,
don't think so, but that is a good question.
all right,
Yeah.
okay.
We'll have to ask
I think Judge Meyer's on it.
judges on it, you know.
They're just behind. I mean, they're.
I think that's like a Xerox copy or, you know.
Yeah, and I'm not
copy or
I'm not
Xerox.
picking on the juvenile court here, I'm just talking about
Yeah,
the
no, it's a
sense
good
of
point.
how we're doing things going
Right.
forward.
Yeah, and that may just be the name of the line at the auditors, in the auditor's office system.
Okay.
But the description says the local records microfilm agreement, microfilming, digitizing images, and electronic storage is the,
You can
We
ask-
had gotten a
Description.
report from juvenile probate a year, 2 years ago, that they are working towards.
Oh, they're
reducing-
ahead of the curve. That's
Yeah,
why I say, I don't
reducing-
wanna.
Yeah,
I
they're
don't even
reducing
wanna-
their footprint.
The juvenile court's doing a great job, and common police courts 1 and 2 are doing a great job. We've got others who are doing less than a great job.
Well, just for the record, maybe let's check on, clarify that, so we all know.
am I pulling this or?
No, go ahead.
No,
that's
you're
good.
If they approve it, I'll just vote no.
All right, and that was for $10,720. I have an additional request for the same special projects fund into their other expense line. They would like to send their new public guardian to the leadership Seneca County, so they're appropriating $800 into their other expense. And
I'm gonna ask, has anybody from this office went to leadership Seneca County yet?
I have.
You have.
I know Jimmy had talked about it, and we mentioned it about Kylie too, but I'm just not sure when the next Leadership Seneca County is.
Okay, but I mean, I just, since they're appropriating it now,
Yeah.
maybe there's one coming up.
I would second that motion.
Yeah, I would like to send somebody from this office.
Yeah, mine was in 2009.
Our new law library.
Well, I didn't know they had those.
10 years ago, oh my gosh.
I was the first graduating class
Oh, really?
back in 1990 something.
That was a great
Last
year.
century.
Great year, That was the previous millennium for being great.
I wrote the bylaws.
Right?
94.
94, there he is, he's a classmate.
That was
Wow.
And then I wrote the bylaws.
Thank you.
Okay, next I
I
have
think there are people in
a.
this room that weren't born in 94.
Problem is, Ron hasn't aged, I have.
All right, I have a supplemental appropriation to close out the fund, the Justice Center Construction Fund. Finally got it wrapped up, so we need to put the $188,979.11 into the transfers outline.
Do we have any money left for Christmas lights?
No.
Okay,
Christmas
thanks for the answer.
Not in that fund, because I'm closing it. No more out of that construction fund. And then I have one additional, I think it was on last week. The auditor's office got a scholarship to allow one of their staff to go to the GFOA conference for $100. So she's asking to do a supplemental appropriation for $100 into the travel and expense line. And I have a resolution accepting the amounts and rates as determined by the Budget Commission and authorizing the necessary tax levies and certifying them to the county auditor. This is sent over by Julie. I think they discussed it at the Budget Commission. They had a couple presentations. I have a resolution accepting the bid of GD Century Farms for leasing the farm located in Hopewell Township on a cash rent per acre basis, authorizing Seneca County Board of Commissioners to enter into the lease. Their bid again was $261 per acre, and there was 63.75 plus or minus acres out there. I have a resolution accepting the bid and authorizing a contract with Rush Truck Centers of Ohio Incorporated for a 64-passenger school bus on behalf of the Seneca County Opportunity Center. The bid amount for that was $97,242. And I did remove the addendum with the City of Tiffin and Hopewell Township from the agenda. I know it was on the agenda when it was sent out. The prosecutor's office had asked me to pull that off. They had a few things to discuss yet, so that will be back on the agenda when I hear from the prosecutor's office. That's all I have.
Move for approval?
So moved. Yep.
Any discussion?
So moved, second.
Roll call.
Commissioner Paradisa?
Yes.
Commissioner Kushner?
We'll slow
Yes.
today, a little slow.
Commissioner Thomas?
Yes. Okay. Public comment. I have one thing. We have a proclamation on kinship, and this is really, really important. We appreciate Grandparent Kinship Month. We really appreciate the people who step up when there's a crisis and watch their grandkids or take their grandkids if there's a crisis. And in Seneca County,
Or nieces.
and nieces and
Yeah,
nephews,
whatever,
yeah,
whatever it might be.
yeah, you're right, yeah. So we have 55 children that live with grandparents or in some kind of kinship household. So, you know, we all know somebody who's lived with their grandparents or their aunts or uncles or some, you know, family member that stepped up. And we certainly want to celebrate that. You know, it's the right thing to do, it's a good human thing to do, but not required of people. But so Grandparent Kinship Month, and so we appreciate everybody who does that. Public comments. Lou, you happy?
I am happy.
Okay.
Clap your hands then.
All right. No public comments. We are adjourned.